Good morning, everyone. We're running just a tad bit late. This is our regular call meeting of the Madison County Board of Commissioners. We're being held on Monday, July the 15th. It's 8:34. We're at the Madison County Ag Complex, 309 North Parkway. I guess you would call this a large conference room in Jackson, Tennessee. Before we begin, I want to share something that Steve Wall has given me to express to you. This is in the passing of his father. He says, "There's no words to adequately express the emotions which comes with losing a loved one, much less your father. This past week has been a whirlwind of tasks and a roller coaster of emotions as we lay my dad to rest. There are also no words to express my gratitude for each of you. Each message sent, each phone call received, and kind words spoken has touched my heart in a unique way. I want to thank you. Thank you for the 5 Bibles donated by the Gideons in my daddy's name. Perhaps the greatest gift is that his legacy will continue to be able to touch others for the Lord Jesus Christ. When I was elected to this body, I expected to make new acquaintances. What I did not expect was a strong friendship and families that would form from this commission. Please know that I have been blessed by each of you and am sincerely grateful for your compassion and kindness during this difficult time. Many blessings and much love to all of you." This is again the passing of Steve's father, whose name was Steve Wall. Before we continue, let me share with you, sometimes we need to hear words rather than our own. In Psalms 23, it says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in a path of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepared a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of our life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever." May we stand for prayer. Precious Lord Jesus, we live in difficult and trying times sometimes. Many things take place on a daily basis recently, Lord, that we quite do not understand. But Lord, you've given us a heart of love, you've given us a heart of mercy, and Lord, your grace is sufficient, and your love never changes. Master, thank you for caring for each of us. Lord, I thank you for this community that we live in. I thank you for the leadership, Lord, and those who have chosen to serve, Lord, in a capacity sometimes it's not even noticed. Lord, thank you for their dedication and their love for what they do. Lord, I ask you to bless this community that we'll do the right thing. We'll do the things that are right, Lord, for the right reasons. Lord, we thank you for the liberty that you've given us all. And Lord, we lift up Jeff to you today, Lord, and thank you for his life that his father lived, Lord, but you promoted him to a heavenly place. Lord, bless us and keep us this day, that we may be what you call us to be. Lord, we can walk in that light, because, Lord, you're the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. You're the Son of the living God. Your name is above every name. Lord, we thank you for that. We thank you for loving us. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Alexander.
Yes.
Arnold.
Here.
Beckham.
Here.
Brantley.
Here.
Brown Claudell.
Here.
Brown Scott.
Here.
Bryant.
Here.
Bush.
Here.
Compton.
Here.
Dayton.
Here.
Ellison.
Here.
Gobble.
Here.
Hale.
Here.
Johnson Arthur.
Here.
Johnson Barber.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Mercer.
Present.
Montague.
Here.
Pearson.
Here.
Petty.
Here.
Spain. Spearman. Stevenson.
Here.
Taylor.
Here.
Wall.
Here.
I heard 23, Mr. Chairman.
23 present. 2 are still trying to find this place. I want to mention the fact that Billy Spain has been real sick, and many of you may have known that. I think Billy's at home now, but we ask you to pray for Billy. Billy's been a great servant to this county for a long time. He dedicated himself, and but I think his health is giving out on him, so we ask you to pray for him and his family. I need the approval of minutes of the previous meeting on May the 18th.
So moved.
I have a motion by Commissioner Bradley, second by Commissioner Brown. Would there be any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Now we have a presentation by our county mayor.
No presentation.
No presentation, another missed opportunity. An announcement from the chair. I'd just like to say, that I appreciate the service all of you render in this county. We've gone through some unusual times. There's things going on in our community and across our country, and this pandemic has put a different mindset on all of us, and the way that we reacted to it, the way we responded to it. But we'll get through all of this, and I appreciate the dedication that all of you have for this county and for our country. Item number 6, presentation, anything on the jail construction. Captain Rudder.
Everybody should have gotten that sent out last week, Commissioner. I send that to Sarah on a monthly basis.
Okay.
It gives you pictures and timeline and all that to go. It's a lot easier than Pat coming in here and
Right.
building jail.
Anybody have any questions for Captain Rudder? Thank you, Captain, for what you do. Item number 7, announcement from our school superintendent.
You also got the progress reports of the JCM and Madison projects. There'll be a groundbreaking ceremony on June 26th at 9 at Madison, 10 at JCM respectively. And the construction manager is willing to come in starting next month to give in-person report if you so desire. Other than that, we'll just look forward to opening school up sometime this fall.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate it. Item number 8, report from county officials, standing special committees, old business, action thereof by this board. Commissioner Pearson.
Mr. Chairman, on June the 10th, the Excess Resale Property Committee met, and we present to you this morning the following recommendations. We accepted a bid from Janessa Mays for 116 Middleton Street in the amount of $650. This is a committee recommendation.
Committee recommendation, no second be required. Do we have any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No.
We accepted an offer from Janessa Mays for 132 Ferris Street in the amount of $500. This is a committee recommendation.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Do we have any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
We accepted an offer from Tabitha Bryce for a piece of property on May Drive in the amount of $900. Committee recommendation.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
We accepted an offer from Tabitha Bryce for 118 Dedrick Street in the amount of $421.84. Committee recommendation.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Offer made by Aubrey Ellis Bond for 134 Booker Street in the amount of $1,101.48. Committee recommendation.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Offer for a piece of property on Chester Levy Road by Steve Chipman, $731.66. Committee recommendation.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
166 Park Place West by Kendra Harvey in the amount of $2,200. Committee recommendation.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
And that completes all the offers we have for this month.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Petty, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The property committee met on June the 9th of this month, and we have 3 resolutions to bring forth to the full body, one of which is at 314 South Liberty here in Jackson. These are property leases for the community corrections. The other one is 453 East Main in Henderson, and the other one at 514 South Broad in Lexington. There's 3 resolutions I'd like to present to the body that we, be a committee recommendation that we extend these leases.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Do we have any discussion on these resolutions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Thank you. The property committee, the conservation board also met. Let me bring up one thing still on the property committee. I know we've talked about this and been working diligently on it, or our finance manager along with Billy are doing really have done a lot of work on this WASP, on this inventory control system. And I'd like to ask that Karen, if you will, give a little update on what's going on as you did at the meeting.
Sure. Turn this way so you can hear me. What we are in the process of doing is collecting all of the data from the departments. They gave us an update. Many of them have already turned their inventory in. So we have a database where that's being entered with the tables of all the inventory assets across Madison County. Some of them, of course, with the coronavirus and the shutdowns, got a little delayed. So we anticipate we should have everything from all the departments no later than September 1st. So, and I appreciate the cooperation of staff working with us to get all the information.
We appreciate your work on this thing too, Billy. You should, also, they just, some of the departments have been testing this and we're not experiencing any glitches at all. It's a wonderful program, and it seems it's going to do the job that we want done. So we'll have good control over all the county's assets. Now, moving forward to the Conservation Board, I have a resignation letter from board member Mike Perry. He has resigned due to conflicts with his present employment, so we'll need to fill that position, but I'd like to put forth as a committee recommendation that we accept his resignation with a sincere thanks for the job he's done on this board for a long year.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Petty. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, in addition to the property that I mentioned earlier, I forgot to bring forward a few others, oversight on my part. If I may, committee accepted an offer from RBL's Bond for 350 Lincoln Street in the amount of $1,500, and this was a committee recommendation. Bring that before you at this time.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Will there be any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
We also accepted an offer from Mimi Davis for 1206 Mifflin Road in the amount of $800. Committee recommendation.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
And finally, we accepted an offer from Mimi Davis for 55 Holland Avenue in the amount of $1,268.78. Committee recommendation.
Committee recommendation, no second is required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other committee reports? I want to call on Karen to give us a report on finances and to discuss maintenance of effort. Just a good definition so everybody understands what we're walking into.
Sure. As you know, there are 4 departments that are mandatory for maintenance of effort, which is highway, education, sheriff's department, and the library. Of course, for the education school system, it's based on the ADM, average daily membership of students. And over the last 5 years, there's been a decrease in students on the average daily membership on the state formula as far as that goes. This year, they're currently with the May numbers, it's 105 reduction in students, and that's based on K through 12. I want to make sure that's understood. Of course, the sheriff's departments, as you know, are based on the salaries and positions, those positions and the salaries as far as you can't fund a different level. And then, of course, on the highway departments, the average of the 5 years as far as that goes. But I do want you to remember that as we look at some of the things today. At the Financial Management Committee, we did give an update on the jail medical contract. At this time, we are through the end of March. They're doing it quarterly for us. We had a $20,000 credit, so we are monitoring the medical services as well as the drug expense, and we'll be presenting that quarterly to everyone. Was there anything else, Commissioner, that you wanted me to cover? Or?
I just want to make sure they all understand what maintenance of
I
effort.
did want to clarify one thing. Some of you, and Mayor Harris and I have been going back and forth on this. We've been sending out information on the revenues as quickly as they came in and as quickly as we're getting them. If you'll remember, I sent an email out to you about 2 weeks ago about the state revenues, and it looked like for April that we were only down by $77,000. About 3 days after I sent that email, the state sent something else out that showed we were down $324,833. So we've been going back and forth with the Department of Revenue, and there is a lot of confusion, not only with Madison County, but other counties. So again, really, until the deposit hits the bank, it appears we're not going to really know. They're making some adjustments, and so they identified that that was part of the reason. So the email that I sent you showed Madison County down for April 1.57%, but what they sent out 3 days later showed us down 7%. So again, what we're going to present to you today, as Commissioner Stevenson will show, is for next year we budgeted at 10% down. We hope that it comes in much better, but we want to plan accordingly.
Anybody have any questions for Karen? Commissioner Petty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Karen, since the internet sales were probably up during that period of time, has that sales been reported in a timely manner?
It is. It's in these numbers. It's been reported. It does include the internet sales as well.
Okay, thank you.
I hope all of you recognize the job that Karen Bell is doing in the finance department. She's been here a short period of time. I think she's achieved a tremendous amount of things that we all need to do. And I hope all of the department heads are aware that she's willing to work with any of you at any time, for any reason, for any purpose, for anything you have any problems with. I think she can be helpful in all departments if you'll call on her. If you're unwilling to do so, it's because it's your own loss. But I hope you'll be willing to work with her, because she's doing an outstanding job, and she's very transparent, and she knows the part of county government, and she knows the part that she plays there, and she knows what her responsibility is. And so I think she's a real asset to this county. Thank you, Karen, for what you're doing.
Appreciate it.
Now then, number 9, report for county mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things. One is, our Great Wolf Lodge project that we've been working on for months and months and months. There was an allocation in the state budget for that was taken out of the budget after the COVID hit. But now we're going down the track of, we're already helping. Tourism
development zone.
Tourism development zone for that project. Great Wolf is satisfied with that. The legislature and the governor do have to act on that. And I'm pretty certain it is on cue with the House, the Senate, and the governor to get that through. So it looks like our Great Wolf project is continuing on. And we have about every 2 weeks, we have conversations with them. And so they seem to be still full speed ahead. And that's a really good thing. Our jail population continues to creep up on us. Captain Rudder said this morning we've got 404 in the CJC. That went down as low about 2 months ago, 6 weeks ago, down as low as 310 or 11, I believe. It is creeping up. Also, the number of state inmates that we're holding continues to creep up. Normally, we hold about 75 state inmates that have been convicted, waiting on presidency. That continues to creep up. Today, we're sitting, I believe, Captain Rudder said, at 130 state inmates that we're holding because the state's not taking any right now. So that's a challenge. Captain Rudder's done an excellent job. We did have a couple of other employees that tested positive. I think there were 2 people. There was no contact with prisoners or inmates. I think Captain Rudder had 2 people on quarantine as other employees because of them being in the proximity of the positive people. So far, we've not had any inmates test positive. We've not had any illnesses. So far, so good on that. Our COVID task force, for about 8 weeks, we met every day. We cut it back about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, 3 times a week. Now we meet once a week. We still have a press briefing once a week. I think by and large, our businesses, our restaurants have done a pretty good job in the sense of making their customers feel safe when they're in their stores or the restaurants. And that's the important thing, I think, on their part. And so our cases continue to climb, but they're not climbing at any greater rate today than they were about 6 weeks ago before we started opening businesses. So that's a good thing. But I would ask Kim Tedford to just kind of give us a recap of kind of where we are on that and at least how you think we're doing. Kim?
Yeah, I would just like to commend Madison County and the city of Jackson for our efforts in combating the pandemic. Our numbers are still at 185 this morning. They've been that way since, I believe, last Tuesday. I talk with businesses on a daily basis. I've met with several in the county and the city. They're seeking advice on how to open up safely, techniques that they need to use to make customers feel safe. So I want to applaud them because they are going that extra mile and trying to follow the guidelines that the Economic Recovery Group are setting at the governor's level. We work closely with Captain Rudder on a daily basis. We usually talk. I think we've got a great plan in place, and that's why we've been able to keep the numbers down at the jail. And I just want to say it's been busy and stressful, but I just want to commend everybody for the job we've done here. As you look around us, you can see Memphis's numbers are steadily climbing. They're averaging 100 plus cases, new cases a day, as well as Nashville. So I feel like we're sitting in a little circle surrounded by lots of increases. So that can be a little stressful and a little worrisome, but overall I think we're all doing a great job.
To follow up on that though, and that is that these things are still important. They're important to protect the people you're around, not necessarily you. Continue to social distance. I feel like we're going to make it through this thing, but we want to make it through like we're going now. And I think if our folks and y'all keep up with what you're doing, I think we'll continue be able to continue to open our economy, which we desperately need. Mr. Chairman, that's all I have.
I'd like to ask the Captain Rudder, the 130 state prisoners we have, what's the average length of time to keep a state prisoner?
Once convicted or?
Once convicted.
sentenced? We, like the mayor said, we usually keep 60 to 70. The state's usually very good about taking them in. We'll get in about 10 every 2 weeks. The state's not taking any inmates from anywhere yet. I think they're still trying to battle their own demons. They're trying to set up a plan. I did talk with Senator Jackson a couple weeks ago. Was very concerned about what the protocol would be once we started sending prisoners, whether we'd be responsible to test them or TDOC was going to do that on their own. Senator Jackson assumed, he sits chairs that committee. He assumed, he assured me that TDOC, once they started receiving those into Bledsoe, that they would do the testing on them once they got there, and they'd be more suited to be able to quarantine them. Last we had heard, it was going to be the first part of June. We passed that, so we just stay in a holding pattern, waiting for them to contact us.
And the state pays us $39.
A whopping $39 a day to keep them. Yes,
And what does it cost us?
well, we've always put out $66 a day is what it costs for an inmate.
They pay 39 and it costs us 66.
Yes, sir.
State's got a good deal.
Assuming they have no medical problems, that is, because we assume, no, they will only take in the cost of the inmate's medical problems if they go in the hospital overnight.
Thank you, Captain. Anybody have any questions for the Health Department, Sheriff's Department? Item number 10, appointment of one member to the Madison County Civil Service Board by this body, 3-year term, Charles H. Byrd, income. Do I have a motion from anybody? I have a motion by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Brantley. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Everybody awake out there? Item number 11, appointment of 4 commissioners to the Law Enforcement Public Safety Committee by this body, 1-year term. Barbara Johnson, Claudel Brown, Scott Brown, Harold Perry, income. Do I have a motion?
Motion to reappoint these 4 to this board.
Second.
Commissioner Pearson made the motion, second by Commissioner Hale. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Item number 12, appointment of 3 members to the Public Records Commission by this body, 1-year term. Tiller, Maroney, Woods, incumbent. Do I have a motion? A motion by Commissioner Petty, second by Commissioner Brown. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Item number 13, appointment of 8 members to the Municipal Solid Waste Planning Board by the County Mayor. Approval by this body, a 5-year term. Bill Douglas, Evan Johnson, John Newman, Hazel Pearson, Kim Tedford, Bobby Weaver, Gary Tippin, and Larry Lawrence, incumbent.
Mr. Chairman, I've got a question for Commissioners. Gary Tippin and Larry Lawrence are on this board. Now, these board members don't have to be commissioners at all, but they're up for reappointment, and I just wanted to know, are there any commissioners that would like to serve on this solid waste planning board? Okay, with that said, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recommend we reappoint everyone except Hazel Pearson, who does not want to be reappointed on this, and we will come up with another member at another meeting.
All right. Motion by Commissioner.
Second.
Commissioner Petty made the, is that what did you say, Petty?
They all be reappointed
Okay.
with the exception of Hazel Pearson.
Second by Commissioner. Item Item number
Vote
14,
on that, Mr. Chairman. We need to vote on that.
we want to vote? Yeah, let's go ahead and vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Item number 14, appointment one member to the Madison County Long Range Planning Committee by the Finance Management Committee. That was not taken care of, so we'll move that on to next month. Sarah. Item number 15, appointment of 3 members, general judge and a commissioner to the Public Record Commission by a county mayor with this body's approval, 1-year term, a vacant seat by Don Allen and Katie Brantley, incumbent.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recommend a reappointment of Don Allen and Katie Brantley, leave this other seat vacant. But we've got to fill that with a genealogist, and I think that we already have one on the board that can take that spot, but I need to clarify that. So I'm just recommending the reappointment of Don Allen and Katie Brantley.
I have a motion by Commissioner Johnson,
Second.
second by Commissioner Compton. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Item number 16, report on debt obligation.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make this twofold purpose. The first thing I'd like to show you is where we currently stand with our debt at this time. Michelle can pull up the debt service schedule for us. It appears to be locked up. Where we are at this time going into the current fiscal year, what we've paid off this year, the principal balance will be $75.5 million. Another thing that I'd like for us to do at this time, the Financial Management Committee approved the change debt policy, so we need to bring that up. The state pointed out that we had as an add-on the balloon indebtedness last year, and they actually wanted it to flow within the policy as far as the terms, so that has been added in. Unfortunately, we can't pull it up here. Okay, here we go. Here's our amended debt management policy here. So it is exactly what you approved last June, except instead of having the balloon indebtedness added on at the end, it is into the terms. Let me go to the terms page to show where that's been added in. But the comptroller's office contacted us and stated that it would be much better if we actually added it in as far as where that it should go. So no changes to the verbiage, and they did want us to add specifically that any balloon indebtedness that was issued right here would definitely be voted on by the legislative body. So we had some wording in there that says it must be formally authorized by resolution of the county's legislative body, just as any other debt. So that is the only change. It's just a recommendation by the comptroller's office that we adopt a cleaner policy. And any questions on the debt service where we currently stand? As you know, we were projected to pay $12.9 million this year. And like I said, that's brought our principal balance down going into the upcoming fiscal year to $75.5 million.
Anyone have any questions? Thank you, Karen.
Mr. Chairman, I think we need a motion. I think we need a vote on that.
We need a motion. Motion by Commissioner Johnson. Second. Second by Commissioner Haley. Any discussion? Hale?
It's been 2 years.
I'll get it right one of these days. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. I'm sorry, we've all got flaws. That's one of my major flaws. I can't pronounce anybody's name correctly. I apologize. All righty, moving on to item number 17. Consideration of possible setting and adopting of the real property tax rate. Commissioner Stevenson, come on up here.
Okay, can y'all hear me okay? Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, this is, I just first off want to thank the committee so much for their really unbelievable work this year. I want to thank Commissioner Compton, Commissioner Taylor, Warner Turner, and Ann White. And we've met and met and met, and Karen and her staff has done a tremendous job on this. And we battled back and forth about going from a continuation budget to a regular, back to continuation, and then we decided we just go ahead and do one. We've got some better numbers. But what I want to do first is go over the tax rate, and then we'll move from there, okay? So the first one right there, I want you to see, if you look at column F right here, 111.33, that's where we were last year on the number of pennies that we actually put in to the general fund. What we did this year, based on what we've done, we based our numbers on a 10% reduction of sales tax. When we first started off, we did a 25% reduction because we didn't know where we were. A 10% reduction, so I think you heard Karen say about 7%, and we're getting some fluctuating numbers. So that's what we based that on. So what we did, I think you can see in column I, that'll bump our fund balance up to $11,436,000. That's going to be a good thing as we move forward, and I'll explain that here in just a minute. The next column, I'm sorry, on on 7. The second column right here is what we got. We got on I. Where are we? I'm sorry, I'm fouled up. Apologize. The 7.18, that would be the, yeah, okay. I just want y'all to see which fund it is where we're having a problem. Okay, the .718, that is for juvenile court services. I get solid waste and juvenile court. What we did was increase those. If you look at the fund balance on I to 208,569, and then on solid waste to 215, we were having a little concern about the low fund balance that we had. So we bumped those up about a penny. Local purpose tax. What we've done is we are eliminating local purpose tax. After our conversation, we had a conversation about, probably about a month ago, I guess. I don't remember when that was. And what they suggested, CTAS suggested that we just eliminate that. We were doing some things, and Gary brought this to we're doing some things on maintenance of effort we really didn't have to do, like make some transfers of things. So what we're doing right there is just eliminating that. I think you can see in I, we'll be making a transfer later. How much was that, 1.5 or some, 1.5 million? Highway, we got a 7.51 pennies. That's on a 5-year moving average for you new commissioners. Just want to make sure that y'all remember that. And feel free to ask me any questions that you want. General purpose school, what we did, we actually reduced that down. Karen, would you make a comment on that about reducing that down, and we'll make that up.
General purpose school has been reduced by the amount of $416,909, and that's based on the maintenance of effort, the 105 students that are referenced on that. That's the decline in the enrollment.
And what we've done on debt service on right here is we got 49.61 in column H. What we've done is we've reduced that down. This is just for this 1 year. Just for this 1 year, because we were concerned about what I said earlier about the sales tax rate. Capital projects, I think you can see we really, Jason and his committee did a fantastic job on this, because we were just scrambling down there. But that's 5.26 pennies, and that's going to leave him a fund balance. Jason, you want to say something about that on the fund balance?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Capital Committee, we basically had enough money to fund the obligations that we had that were leases or year-to-year obligations that were already committed moving forward. So after those were taken into consideration, we have around $900,000 in fund balance. The committee always tries to leave at least $500,000 in there moving forward for emergencies. So if you were to look at that, we would have had about $400,000 to allocate, and we had about $4 million in request. So the committee did not think that it was fair for us to try to allocate $400,000 with $4 million in requests, just 10%. So the committee decided that we would just hold the $900,000 fund balance, and that any capital requests would come through financial management for emergencies moving forward in FY21, other than the obligations that were already committed moving forward. So there is about $900,000 setting in fund balance for capital this year. Those requests would be taken up as emergencies by financial management by amendments only.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one question, like on capital, the money that was moved away from the JCT and Bemis West School, is that
That's on Ed.
obligated or
That's
what?
ed capital, that has nothing to do with,
I'll address that here in
Yeah.
just a minute, Mr. Long. That's a great question, I want you to, here, go ahead,
Yeah,
Commissioner Moore.
Carol, you said that the student system offer 105 students.
Yes, sir. This year it's 105. Over the last 13 years, it's been 1,699 students.
Okay. Would the pre-K not pick that back up and add it back into that?
This is based on the state formula of K through 12. The state
Okay.
formula does not look at pre-K.
Okay.
It's on the average daily membership of kindergarten through 12th grade.
Okay.
In answer to your question, Commissioner Arnold, educational capital, the problem that we ran into this year was you cannot borrow any money for operating expenses. So that's why we bumped everything up here. Now what we can do is we move forward here, we can move back and look at, maybe do a bank qualified or whatever for educational capital, because there's going to be several things that we're going to be talking about, because we've got furniture that we're going to have to do for Madison, we got other things for JCM that we're going to have to do. So what we're just trying to do is get that all together for what you're referring to. Now we could do that on a bank qualified, and that's what we were trying to get in that position to be able to do. So we're going to have to carry on discussions with them on moving forward. So educational capital, there was 3.89. What I'm concerned about there, in addition to what Commissioner Arnold was talking about, is we've done a pretty good job of catching back up with the buses and some things. But the problem is we're probably going to run behind again. And each bus costs about $90,000. Those special ed buses are more than that. So just want to make you aware of that. So we were hoping we could get a waiver, and I don't know if we can get a waiver to move those from 15 years out to 17. I've been told that, but I don't know that for certain. Okay. We didn't do any tax increase. It's $2.35, $2.35 pennies, whatever. We did do this though, which I'm fairly optimistic here. We've got last year on F, you see the 226, 144. That's what each penny represented. Now this year we're at 228,093. Okay. Now what we did though was each penny actually came in at about 233,000. What we did though, we put in more delinquency than we normally do, because with the forbearance, we have people that can pay taxes later and do some things like that. We were trying to be ultra conservative in what we did on doing that. Hopefully, I feel pretty optimistic that number's going to come in. We're going to be able to get more for our bang for our buck there. So that's that part. Do we need to vote? Do we need to vote on anything?
Yeah, we got to vote on the tax rate.
Do we need to vote on 235? Are there any more questions? I want to make sure everybody understands what we're doing.
One more, on the, I believe the general fund budget, you had, what, 11 million on fund balance? Isn't that much more than what we normally do?
It's quite a bit more, Commissioner Arnold, and here's what we got. We're facing a lawsuit, of course, that we're going to be having to deal with. Let me show you one other thing. Can you pull up the green sheet for me? I didn't even prep you on all these questions. You've done very well. I appreciate it, because I need to. What we're concerned about moving forward too, with what you were talking about borrowing and those things is what we've really tried to do here on this fund balance. And I think you see the 24.75. What we've really tried to do over the last number of years is get that up to 25%. That has been absolutely, that's going to help us as we borrow money for Pope or whatever we're going to do. That is absolutely critical. So you see the $11 million fund balance. We don't have any fund balance in local purpose. We're moving that money. But what that enables us to do is to enable us to give us some flexibility on what we're doing moving forward. So,
You'll need to read all the pennies off each line item.
okay, very good. I'll be glad to. I didn't know if we did that thing or that thing. Okay.
Excuse me. If you could go back to the previous page. I noticed, if you clarify for me, I noticed that we had zero there for other special revenue. We don't anticipate any revenue come from
I'm gonna let Karen talk about other special revenue. That's a great question, and I'll let her explain.
Other special revenue was created in 2017 when you had the lawsuit between the city and the county. And the allocation for what you raised property taxes during that year went into other special revenue. Unfortunately, it didn't go in there for the years that followed after it, so it had no real purpose of being able to track. Ideally, what should have been done is each year, the amount that you raised property taxes should have gone into that fund. So when we talked to the auditors, they said it has really no relevance anymore because we didn't follow through with it in years 18, 19, and 20. So what we are doing with other special revenue is to move it, close that fund this year, move that money out, and it has to be used for schools, so it can either go into general purpose school or it can go into education capital. But a $106,000 balance in there has to be used for education. So we're closing it out for this year because you have no relevance as far as tracking because you lost 3 years on it. So that's the reason you see a zero balance on that one. It will be closed out and the remaining funds moved into one of the school accounts.
any special jump in revenue in regard to departments such as the training school. Where would it be seen? Training center, what would it be seen?
The training center would be in the general fund. The budget that's currently been turned in on that is zero.
What's the operational cost?
It's commingled in several other divisions, so it's not clearly identified.
So we don't know how much we're spending, but we know what we're getting, zero.
We know we're getting zero, yes, sir.
Well, finance committee, why are we spending it?
Sir?
Why are we spending if we're getting zero? Whereas another agency such as school to cut budget, you know.
That's a conversation for another time.
Sure.
If y'all will, when you get ready to speak, would you
You're right.
please
I'm
rise?
Okay, we're gonna need to vote on this for a total of 235. I have to read each one of these out. General fund, 1.2713, general purpose school, 0.3020, debt service, 0.4961, highway department, 0.0751, solid waste, 0.0422, juvenile court services, 0.0718, educational capital, that'd be 3.89 pennies, and general capital, 5.26 pennies. That totals $2.35, Mr. Chairman.
I need a motion to approve that.
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Johnson, second by Commissioner Beckman. Any other discussion? Commissioner Arnold.
I would be opposed to this. Again, we have money that has already been appropriated to build the Jackson Career and Technology facilities for middle school and the middle school facilities for Beavis West. In fact, that was scheduled and would have probably been completed by now. I think Mr. Washington is here, but those two were on the table to do this year, be completed for the start of school this year. That money was taken out, and of course this is one of the priority projects. It's been on the list now for 4 years, I guess. And the $11+ million that we're projecting for the fund balance, we have money there to use for these projects. And for that reason, I'll be opposed to this.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Alexander.
Yes.
Arnold.
No.
Beckham.
Yes.
Brantley.
Yes.
Brown Claudel.
Yes.
Brown Scott.
Yes.
Bryant.
Yes.
Bush.
Yes.
Compton.
Yes.
Deaton.
Yes.
Ellison.
Yes.
Gobble.
Yes.
Hale.
Yes.
Johnson Arthur.
Yes.
Johnson Barber.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Mercer.
Yes.
Montague.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Petty.
Yes.
Spain. Spearman.
Yes.
Stevenson.
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Wall.
Yes.
Anyone like to change their vote?
That's what I heard.
23 yeses, 1 no, 1 absent. Motion passes. Item number 18, consideration of possible adoption of the tentative 219-220 budget for Madison County.
Last year, and please feel free to ask any questions, last year's total appropriations were around $257 million. This year's, we have the total appropriations at $234, $935, $780. I really don't have anything more to comment on other than this was very challenging, and we asked all the departments to cut 3%, and I'd like to commend the majority of the departments for actually trying to do that. We had some that we could pull up that and show you. I think we showed it the other night at the agenda review. We had numerous departments cut more than that, and we had several that, not several, but we had a couple that were not moving in that direction. So I feel good about this. This has been like the most difficult one our committee's ever had to do. Do y'all have any, Mike and Jason, have any comments or anything? So.
There's no doubt this has been a very, very difficult budget to deal with. We've done everything. That budget committee has done an outstanding job in working through every aspect they could. I keep reminding ourselves, this budget is, this is what we believe it will be. If things improve, things get better through the year, things can change, and some of these appropriations could be made. Commissioner Johnson.
I move that we tentatively approve the budget.
Have a motion to approve the budget. Have a second. Is that a second, Commissioner Brown? No. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Brown. Commissioner Brown.
Yes, that one read this. Whoever would need to answer this. Are we required, Attorney Karen, Finance Committee, to finance anything that is not constitutionally mandated or is not profitable for the county taxpayers? I'm speaking primarily of the answer, and I respect for the answer with regard to, and I don't have a thing against the sheriff's department, but the thing is, any department. I was a government employee for almost 40 years. But the thing is that when nonprofits, schools, and other departments are making this sacrifice, I just feel a little uncomfortable for my taxpayer, my constituents of money to be going somewhere and getting nothing. I need to be accountable, and I don't feel comfortable.
If I understand, your question is, are you required to fund an item that is not constitutionally required?
And possible to the county.
Well, you're not required, as you phrased your question, you're not required to fund anything that is not constitutionally required. No, sir, you're not. Profit to the county, as you described it, is not a factor. Individual items may have merit, they may be profitable, In a financial sense, they may have benefit, profitable to others in the community sense, but other than certain items that you are required by law to fund certain items, I wouldn't delineate them all here, but if there's an item that is not required by statute or the Constitution, then no, you are not required to fund that.
I probably said that wrong. Just a financial liability to the county.
Is there a financial liability to the county?
Are we required to fund anything that's a financial liability to the county?
No, sir, you are not required to fund anything that is a financial liability beyond the issue we've already addressed a minute ago, which is obviously there are certain items you're required to fund by law. If it's not an item that is mandated by statute or some constitutional requirement, then you're not required to fund it, whether it is in the black or in the red, financially.
Then my last comment on this matter here is that if it's not required, why are we doing it?
It's not required.
If it's not required and it's a financial liability and we're cutting and we're tightening the belt, why are we still putting money in a pocket that has a hole in it?
And I'll answer that question very, the reason why we're doing that is because none of our 25 has stood up and said, we need to do something about that.
This one
the thing I believe you're referring to is, are we in charge of that? Yes, we are. So what I'm saying is, one of the 25 needs to stand up and say, this is what we're doing. I mean, why are we doing this? And then we need to address it. I guess if that answers your question. So we haven't done that.
Commissioner Taylor.
I don't know, I'm having a hard time following, but part of the budget committees, we ask everybody for 3% cuts. When we didn't get those, we looked at ways we could find to cut. Maintenance of effort on the schools. Did we want to do that? No, but it was a legal way to do it. And we cut the sheriff's department. He submitted a $25 million budget, and we cut it as much as we legally could. It didn't get to the 3% that we all wanted, but we looked at every line item in his budget, and the budget that we submitted has what, Karen, is it, how much money is cut out of the sheriff's budget this year?
Last year's budget was $22,218,000. This year we've got it down to $22,212,668. And $435,631 is grants and reimbursable state revenue. And one reason it remained as high as it did is because of the jail contract, the medical contract, and the food supplies for the jail. So those two things we knew we couldn't really touch. So yeah, it's only down about $5,000 from last year.
We did think it was prudent to take money from the jail because our population has been up and we know we got to take care of the prisoners. So, but we did cut the sheriff's department every dime that we possibly could because they are under maintenance of effort.
I don't mean any harm, but I had no concern about cutting the sheriff's department. Supportive, as I mentioned earlier, supportive of it. The thing is, I have some strong concern if the training center is not bringing anything in. Why are we still putting money in? That's my problem, and I don't think we should in anything that would fall that would meet that nature. If we got, we cut students. If the students out there, we don't put money there to educate students out there. Come on.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak to that?
Yes, sir.
The training center actually is making money for us because otherwise, I've got the numbers. If you'd like to sit down and talk to me about it, you'll see how much training that we're putting on in our department into the jail. Otherwise, we're going to be sending those people to Memphis, Nashville, somewhere else. And I've got the numbers, which is 1,000 numbers of hours that we are training our people. We're bringing the instructors here at no cost whatsoever to the county. And they're putting on training for us from all over the United States at no cost. We're able to bring we don't get charged for it. We can't charge other people, but it's training our people. We have more training for our officers than any department, anywhere, because we're able, and we've worked hard to get these people to come in. So it is making money for you, because otherwise it would cost us $1 million or more to send these people across to other places. These other departments are sending in from TCI, for instance. These other jails are having to have their people trained because their requirements on their mandatory training, they're having to be, they're coming to us, they're staying here, they're spending taxpayers or their money for taxes here for hotels, restaurants, and everything else when they're here. So we are making money that way. Our people don't get charged. So it is, and everything that's been furnished in that facility is because it was given and donated to us free of charge. You spent very little, so we worked hard. That whole complex out there, we worked hard, so you wouldn't have to spend the money. And, you know, I had to reach out across the country to get free stuff. And so, you know, it's very important that we continue our training. And, you know, eventually we're working with the state, we've been working with them, trying to get an academy here. We're working with University of Memphis. They've agreed to give us dormitories, and so then at that time we would be making money for it on that, or breaking even. I think Mr. Pearson can tell you about running a training center, but he can also tell you probably that people coming here and then training your own people without having to send them somewhere else and paying per diem for a whole week. But otherwise, we'd be shut down. So we've actually do a lot. I think Lori can tell you the same thing with tourism, what it brings in on taxpayers' money. You know, and the thing is, you know, our deputies and our correctional staff have worked hard, and there've been no pay raises for them. You know, I submitted a budget, and I laid it out for you, and I would request that you look at it and prove that. I mean, they need their pay raise. You also, during all this coronavirus and everything that's been going on, there's lots of people that hadn't had to go to work. They got paid, they stayed at home. Who worked? The people in the first responders, health, law enforcement, fire, and they continue, and they worked overtime. And so it's very stressful. So I'll be glad to answer any other questions you may have concerning the training center or anything in our budget. But we've got the facts to prove it.
Commissioner Gobble.
Am I to understand that these people come from all over the country free of charge? Is that what you're saying?
Our trainers come from around the country. We had one class that came in for a whole week. They came from up in Pennsylvania here, brought $50,000 worth of equipment that handed out to our people and trained our people in techniques. And so that's, you know, that's unheard of. But we work hard at it, and we have to continue to work hard at it because training is important. You know, our main thing is the safety of the inmates at the jail, the safety of the citizens of Madison County. And we want our officers to be trained. We don't want a lot of this other. We've been very fortunate. We work hard at it.
So, I'm understanding that you don't pay them anything?
We don't pay them anything. We don't pay hotels or anything else. They pick up the full cost.
Commissioner Brown.
Yes, respectfully, do the people who come in here to receive training, do they pay? Are the counties pay?
They don't pay that.
Nobody pays.
They will come in. We're able to host it here and bring people from all over. We've had people from several states that have come in here. Secret Service, for instance, put on a class. They brought a person from Germany to come in here on cell phones. They had 6 people. That class is $5,000 per student. And we have one of our people in it. It didn't cost us a penny. They gave us about $100,000 of equipment to be able to analyze computers and cell phones.
I think what they're missing, Sheriff, you're saying that you're providing facilities for these people to come in and train. So we're providing, that's their expense there, correct?
Well, they're using our facility. We could come in and train our people only and nobody else. But part of the deal is that we will let others come in so they can reach out to them.
Well,
Is there a reason why we're not charging these other people? But I'm not giving you a hard time. I'm coming from a business standpoint, an accountability standpoint. If they're coming in, and my heart is full of charity and love, but if I'm providing all of this, why are we not charging them, or are we charging them? And because my issue came up because I didn't see anything in the numbers up there. I didn't see anything that I can tell Mayor Joe Public, who I'm accountable to, while we're taking tight belt here and don't see anything happening here.
We can't charge those Crockett County or Memphis, or whoever comes in here, because these trainers and these groups that come in and train, the agreement is, we won't be charging you. Otherwise, just like the one I told you from Pennsylvania, that right there would have cost us, if we had to pay it out of the county budget, it would cost $100,000 for us to bring those trainers in. And we wouldn't have recouped that. We got all that training, we got equipment from them at no cost. So otherwise, we would have to go buy the equipment if we were going to do it. So, that's what's important is, and I think Lori can tell you from the hotel motel, it generates revenue. But the training is very important, because otherwise we would be sending our people to Nashville. You know what it costs to go to Nashville per night, and you know what meals are, and you go up there for a whole week. We can't send our officers there. Same way with Memphis. We're spending overtime if we're driving to Memphis for the training. But our correctional officers and our law enforcement officers have to be trained every year. There's requirements that they have to go through and so many hours. And so if we can do it here without sending them somewhere else, in reality, you're making money because you're not coming out of your budget. We don't know, we shut down with Corona right now, and there's been no classes. We're fixing to start back up because we've got to have some required training before the end of the year. And so that's important.
Cheryl, let me make sure they understand. What you're saying is they use the facilities. You may have some of our people participate in that training, but these people coming down and not doing this for free. There's other folks coming and they're getting the benefit of the other outside folks coming in that they're training.
That's right. And then we work together with all these other agencies when they come in. They're trained alike.
So how many people on average do they have at one time?
They may have, in our class, they may have 40 people per class. They may have more than that. It just really depends.
So that they get all the funding then?
They don't get, nobody pays them anything. They get the funding from federal government or other.
So they're not, no one's paying anything out of that meeting?
Nothing whatsoever. And I can sit down and we've had probably, and I've given Karen the numbers. We probably had 4,000 people come to that center last year. Very little money cost us anything for that training. Otherwise, we would have been sending 270 people somewhere else. Look what that would have cost us. Our budget would not, we couldn't do it. And like I said, our officers they work hard. They've been out there working where everybody else had to be off.
Mayor?
Well, I think one of the issues is that when we started a training center based off of your recommendation 4 to 5 years ago, you provided us with this scenario that it would be operated outside the sheriff's department. It would have its own budget. We would know what we're taking in, what we're paying out. You gave us a pro forma that showed it was going to be revenue neutral within 3 years. We don't have a board. You resisted that every time we started. We don't know what it's costing us because all the expenses are categorized in your budget. So we don't know. We don't have a clue. You can tell us all day long, but we need something to show us. You say we're saving all this money. How much has your training budget gone down since the training center's been there? Versus how much it's cost for the utilities, the maintenance, the upkeep, the cleaning, and everything else to have that training center.
Well, we're using inmate labor to clean it, and you haven't had to pay for the maintenance of it, except it's just our normal maintenance. It's been very little. I can sit down and I can show you.
Well, why don't you, Sheriff?
Well,
It's been 4
we
years we've been asking
well,
these
we
questions.
tried to.
Why don't we have a board? Why don't we have a budget for this training center like you said and like this commission voted on? You said there would be set up separately and everybody understood. I can show you a video of when the motion was passed. Why do we not have that? Why?
We actually had somebody who were trying to appoint people to the board once before, about a year ago, or less than that.
So when is there going to be a separate budget for the training commission so we can see?
We can go in and start working on a budget.
Well, why haven't you? Your budget, you're asking for $25 million now, $3 million more than you got last year or the year before. So what's it going for if you're saving us all this money?
Well, we can go in and we can actually start.
Well, when are you going to do it?
Mr. Mayor, we can show you how much money it would cost us if we're going somewhere else. If you want to look at that, we can put those numbers down.
Well,
we've got the numbers.
Tell us when you're going to show us that.
I've actually given it to Karen Bell right there.
Anybody have any more questions for the sheriff?
Mr. Chairman, just one more thing here. I'm sorry, Michelle, go back to back. I just want to make sure everybody understands what we were dealing with as a committee, real quick. Lease rental, 2020, 2021, zero. We also have back in the last year, we had $5,920. Okay? Now, I'm gonna pull up the expenditure for the training center. We set this up about 3 or 4 years ago. We're going to be, I'm just going to shoot straight. We set this up 3 or 4 years ago because we had a plan so we would be able to address the questions that Mayor Harris just asked. In other words, what are the expenses on this? What are the utilities? What are the kind of things? You see any numbers there, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen? Zero. 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 Now, one more question, and then I'm going to be quiet and I'm going to go sit down. We're talking about travel. How we've saved all this money, $211,000, and I'm not doubting that we have not saved money doing that. All I'm saying is from the accounting side of it, we have done a perfect job of taking care of this. Travel, $355. Where is it? I'm sorry, I'm ahead of myself. $30,000 year to date. $51,000. Wait, go to the 2020. We must have changed that because that actually was increased when I looked at it. I apologize.
It was increased.
It was increased. Now, how can we be saving $211,000 and have an increase in travel? Explain that to me. I'm not very smart, but I can't figure that out.
Mr. Stevens, there are going to be some requirements for some travel that has to go on. Not everything can be done right there. So.
Motion.
I have one other question, Sheriff. Why does it take 6 people to come to a commission?
We got a motion.
For the sheriff's department?
Yeah.
Do y'all have any questions?
We voted.
No, we haven't voted on it yet.
Mr. Commissioner, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, just a procedural thing before you vote. Under the Financial Management Act, which you've adopted of 1981, Financial Management Systems of 1981 Act, when the sheriff proposes a budget, which I understand he has done, he has proposed a budget twice previous to this meeting, which is required by statute when there's disagreement on the terms. Under the provisions of that act, he then has the option to deliver a proposed budget from his office a third time, which he is to deliver to the commission members. It's my understanding he's done that today. I'm advised that he has delivered a proposed budget to each of you at your tables. Under the Financial Management Act that you passed, you then as a body are required to vote up or down on his proposed budget within 10 days of his presentation of his proposed budget to you. Now, your next meeting is not scheduled until, I believe, 14 days from now. So in order to be in compliance with the statute, I think you need to vote on whether or not to accept his proposed budget that he's delivered to you. And I think procedurally, it would be appropriate to vote on that budget that he has proposed up or down before you then proceed to vote on the entire budget.
Well, I got a motion on the floor
I
now.
understand.
I don't have a budget. What's supposed to be given to the
Sheriff. That's
I
just,
don't have that.
And I didn't know he had done that either until it was just called to my attention. I understood it was delivered to your tables. I haven't seen it myself.
Steve, you want a copy?
The budget that has been delivered does not have benefits for all divisions, so it would not be a complete comprehensive budget.
you referring to the sheriff's budget?
The one you passed out.
One of the sheriff's?
Yes,
Is
sir.
anybody else overlooking for a budget?
Karen, make that known.
The budget that has been passed out by the sheriff's department does not have benefits for all divisions, so it is not complete and comprehensive.
And so what I'm proposing, just as a procedural matter, so you can do this in the right order, I would recommend that you, just for momentarily in this meeting, table the budget, the amendment, the motion on the floor right now to adopt the budget, take up the issue of the sheriff's proposed budget, vote it up or down as you see fit, then make a motion to take this budget off the table and then vote on it.
Mr. Chairman, I withdraw my motion.
You're making a motion to table the table.
I'm withdrawing, so we won't have to table.
Well, it's already been seconded, therefore it's.
Okay, I move we table.
Yes, sir.
The motion to table, have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Hale. Any opposed? Hale. Any opposed? None. Commissioner Hale, you have something?
I have a question about the proposed budget from the sheriff, probably directed toward Karen. If this is not a complete budget, can we take it up today?
There are missing benefits in some of the divisions, and some of the calculations on the benefits are not what we calculated to be accurate benefits. And whether or not it can be taken up, I defer to county attorney.
As a procedural matter, I think you need to take it up. Whether that particular piece of information affects your vote is up to you. But I think you need to take it up. There needs to be a motion to take up the sheriff's third proposed budget. And so it needs to be motioned and seconded so you get it on the floor. Then you can discuss the merits of it and ultimately vote on it.
So I'll move to take this up.
I have a motion to take this up, the sheriff's budget. Do I have a second? Second by? Who? Okay. Any other discussion about the sheriff's budget? Commissioner Hale.
I couldn't support a budget that wouldn't take the entire budget into effect, so I'm not sure how we could approve this today.
If I'm understanding correctly, what you're saying, Karen, is if we were to adopt this $25 million, $36,000 budget, it would actually end up being even more because we'd have to add the benefits in there. So
That is correct. Some of the divisions do not have complete benefits in it, so.
when you're thinking about this, think about that number is going to be inflated because of benefits.
Any other questions? Roll call. You're voting on the proposed budget that the sheriff delivered to your table.
It was Commissioner Hale just to vote up or down that budget?
Yeah.
Or was it just to
The
discuss
motion is
it?
to consider it, to bring it to the floor as a neutral. I wasn't voting to bring it to approve.
You gotta vote it up or down.
Do I
one way
need
or the
to-
other.
Does the motion need to be stated up or down?
Gotta be up or down.
Okay, well, is that right?
Well, by statute, you have to, you're taking it up whether to approve it or not, yes, sir. By statute, now, I know you're making the motion to bring it to the floor. You're not bound by your motion in your subsequent vote, if that's what you're asking. But
Can we take it up with the motion that I presented? Or
I think you can, yes, sir.
This motion, what we got today?
Yes, sir. This is on whether or not to approve the sheriff's proposed budget that he delivered this morning.
And this budget does not contain benefits, so it will be more than what the 25 million is on here.
Call question.
Roll call.
I gotta make,
Commissioner Petty?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The issue that I guess I've got is not on the agenda. Do we have to vote to suspend the rules to be able to discuss this?
Good point.
Well, you can do that as a matter, if you want to. I think you can take it up because it's a report from a county official, in a sense, the sheriff's a county official. But if as a matter of caution, you want to vote to suspend the rules, you can certainly do that.
Okay, it's going to take 2/3 vote to suspend the rules, right?
Yes, sir, but you're statutorily bound to consider it whether you vote for it or not, so I would highly recommend you pass that 2/3 vote.
Well, I'll put the motion out for suspend the rules to take this matter up.
Second.
Have a motion second, suspend the rules. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Now we're voting on sheriff's proposed budget.
Mr. Attorney, Commissioner Hale's motion was to consider. He didn't make a motion to approve or disapprove, so even if they pass the motion, I don't know if it's to approve or disapprove the sheriff's budget.
What you can do, yes to approve it, no to not approve. That's consideration.
That's right. So you're voting it up or down? Roll call.
Alexander? No. Arnold? No. Beckham? No. Brantley?
I pass.
You pass?
Yes.
Thank you. Brown Claudel?
I am so confused on all of this. Again, this is just to, suspend the rules, right?
No.
No, you're voting on sheriff's proposed budget, his budget, 25 million plus. What'd you do?
Pass.
You passed.
Brown Scott?
No.
Bryant?
No.
Bush?
No.
Compton?
No.
Deaton?
No.
Ellison?
Yes.
He said yes.
He said yes.
Gobble?
No.
Hill?
No.
Johnson Arthur?
No.
Johnson Barber?
Pass.
Martin?
Yes.
Mercer?
Yes.
Montague?
No.
Pearson?
Pass.
Petty?
Pass.
Spain? Spearman?
No.
Stevenson?
No.
Taylor?
No.
Wall?
No.
I'd like to change mine to no.
Anyone else want to change their vote?
Yes, 17 no, 4 pass.
3 yeses, 17 no, 4 passes, motion fails for the sheriff's proposed budget. Now we have a motion on the floor.
You need a motion to take the budget off the table so that it can be voted. And that just requires a simple majority vote.
Take motion.
I have a motion to remove it from the, motion by Compton, second by Commissioner Brown. All in favor say aye. Aye. Now we're voting on item number 18, which we already have a motion. It's already on the floor. It's already been seconded. The possibility of adopting the tentative 219-220 budget for Madison County. Any other questions about the motion? Roll call.
Alexander? Yes. Arnold.
Yes.
Beckham.
Yes.
Brantley.
Yes.
Brown Claudel.
Yes.
Brown Scott.
Yes.
Bryant.
Yes.
Bush.
Yes.
Compton.
Yes.
Deaton.
Yes.
Ellison.
Yes.
Gobble.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Johnson Arthur.
Yes.
Johnson Barber.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Mercer.
Yes.
Montague.
Yes.
Pearson.
No.
Petty.
Yes.
Spain. Spearman.
Yes.
Stevenson.
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Wall.
Yes.
Anybody want to change their vote? 23 yeses, 1 no, 1 absent. Tentative budget passes. Item number 19, consideration of resolution to rezone property located at 450 Pitkins Road. Where is Stan Powell? Come on down, Stan, come on down.
Good morning. The item you have on your agenda was presented to the Planning Commission, and they are recommending approval of it to you. Mr. Smith owned a piece of property on Pipkin Road, and the zone that he's in requires an acre, but because of some deed things over time, he had a little bit less than an acre. There was FR, which he's asking for, allows him to have a little bit smaller lot. It's in the area. We're not establishing it. It's already FR in the area because there's water present, so we are recommending it to you.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. This is a public meeting. Would anyone here would like to speak for it or against it? Anyone? Anyone opposed to it? Anyone? I guess not. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Item number 20, consideration of resolution to rezone property located at, did we just do that?
No, it's just similar.
Similar, okay. Rezone property located at 4506 Highway 45 North. Go ahead, Stan.
All right, so this is a similar situation. Mr. Howard Hamilton had a piece of property that was zoned commercial in the county. Commercial zoning in the county does not allow residential. He has a son-in-law that wants to build a house, so he's wanting to downzone some of his property so that he can build a home and live there. So the Planning Commission considered this, and they are recommending approval of it to you.
Anyone want to speak for it or against it? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Bush. Do I have a second? Commissioner Wall. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Item number 21. Consideration of resolution to rezone property located at 2046 Mifflin Road. Stan.
All right, so this one was presented to your Madison County Planning Commission. This is in the outer region. This is the purpose of the zoning is to establish a Dollar General in the area. This was presented to the Planning Commission. They are recommending denial of it to you. There was residents there that were opposed to the rezoning. I have petitions in my folder. I have about 50 people that are in favor of it, and a little bit over 200 that are against it. We recommended against it as a staff because it's a spot zoning. There's no other commercial zoning in the area. The area is mostly, if not all, residential. So while there are pros and cons with any commercial entity like a Dollar General because of service and things like that, people felt like the commercial zoning would lead to negative impacts to the residential character of their area, and also might bring crime and the lights and things. So again, we recommend against it. The Planning Commission is recommending against it to you. One other thing just to keep in mind, when you have a commercial zoning that there's not already some there that we're extending, anybody else that comes along later that wants that similar zoning, we have to consider that and recommend it to you also, because similarly situated piece of property have to be zoned just like you do for any other one. So that's why we felt like this was not appropriate.
You making a motion, Carl?
No, just gonna add the outreach and planning committee did vote unanimously to uphold the denial of planning committee.
Do I have a motion on the floor to reject this?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Commissioner Alexander, second by Commissioner Hale. This is a public hearing. Anyone like to speak for it or against it?
I'd like to speak against the dollar store being out there. Most of us that live in that community are senior citizens.
Your name, please, ma'am?
Margaret Singleton.
Just sing.
And as a senior citizen, I just do not recommend that we have a dollar store right in our immediate neighborhood. It would really affect all of us.
Anyone else? Yes. State your name.
Jeff Thompson. My property adjoins the property that's in question here on the zoning. We're very much against any type of commercial building being put on this property, because we're all residential neighborhoods, and we want to keep our little neighborhood like it is right now. Usually a dollar store, you bring a lot of, I think if you look at the crime rates, a lot of them has, and we're out in the country, and it's very hard to control it. And we have to commission to please reject this.
Anyone else?
Christy King. I just want to say thank you to those that I was able to reach out to just voice our opinion as a neighborhood and local community that this wasn't the best for our area. Thank you, Carl, and those that I spoke to by phone, and to you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing us just to come in and you hear our voice, sir. Thank you very much.
You know what you're voting on? You're voting not to rezone. Roll call.
Alexander.
Yes.
Arnold.
Yes.
Beckham.
Yes.
Brantley.
Yes.
Brown Claudel.
Yes.
Brown Scott.
Yes.
Bryant.
Yes.
Bush.
Yes.
Compton.
Yes.
Deaton.
Yes.
Ellison.
Yes.
Gobble.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Johnson Arthur.
Yes.
Johnson Barber.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Mercer.
Yes.
Montague.
Yes.
Pearson.
Yes.
Petty.
Yes.
Spain. Spearman.
Yes.
Stevenson.
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
Wall.
Yes.
Anyone want to change their vote? 24 yeses, no nos, 1 absent. Zoning is denied. Commissioner Mason.
I've asked this before, and again, I like hanging out with you, so it's not a big thing for me to be here for a while. But our rezonings have petitioners and citizens usually associated with them. And is there anything that demands that we be way down on the agenda? Because
We just like you being here, Stan.
I understand.
We love an audience.
I'm really more concerned about the residents that are having to sit here for, hour and a half, 2 hours.
Well, they get this exposed into government that they're paying for. Thank you for the recommendation, Stan.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Stan, have a seat. Item number 22.
Man, we haven't been here,
I'll be here.
Item number 22, consideration of possible approval of the Madison County Trustees list of errors, double assessments, and corrections on the 2019 tax roll, and amounts to be filed in Chancery Court for the collection to be released from the trustees of said county. Okay, I'm waiting. Have a motion from Commissioner Brown. Have a second, Commissioner Ellison. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Item number 23, Any amendment to transfer to general fund, school debt, capital project, highway debt, highway department, debt services, and juvenile court services budget for fiscal year 219-220. Commissioner Johnson.
Fund 141, general purpose schools, item 1, 130, I reckon that's $137,620.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Fund 142, school federal projects, item 2, $1,000, Title 8, McKinley Pinto. This amendment aligns the general ledger to the state approved budget, which was recently adjusted for additional funding.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 3, $5,510, Idea Technology Grant.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Fund 143, food services, item 4, $76,000. This amendment aligns the general ledger to anticipated expenditures per year.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
5A and 5B are in-house. The reason these are on here after approving the change in handling in-house was because these were already in the works. 5A is $4,900, funding being transferred to cover consulting services.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
5B, $601, general purpose human capital to cover cost of both an office chair that needs replacing and also the cost of virtual course.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Insurance recovery and refund, item 6, EMA, $565.25. Receive refund for overcharge on JA internet bill.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 7, $94,482.12. Insurance recovery money received for damage to pickup truck. Miscellaneous refund for work performed for other governmental entities, rabies, general fund, sheriff's department.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 8, fire, $2,432 insurance recovery money from Station 6 roof.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 9, fire, $6,025 reimbursement for 1/2 of public petroleum fuel so placed into fuel to finish the year.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 10.5, item 10 is $10,783.29. Insurance recovery from Station 12, first storm.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 11, $11,498.74. Insurance recovery from Station 12, second storm.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 12, assessor of property, $3,259.88, insurance recovery in amount of $3259.88 for damage to assessor of property vehicle.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 13, juvenile court services, $5,065.61, insurance recovered for water damage from busted pipe.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Transfers, item 14, Health Department, rabies control, $4,900, road and issue and alliance, to year-end estimate.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 15, Health Department's Convenience Centers, $12,976, solid waste, move money to contracted services to cover crash pickup, the waste management driver was out.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 17, Health Department School-Based Oral Disease Prevention Services, $2,160.77.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Skip 16.
Miss 16.
Did I skip 16? All right, Health Department, $17,435 increase overtime and Social Security for COVID-19 for overtime for 3 employees. FEMA will reimburse.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
We voted on 17, didn't we?
Well, 18, yes, sir.
On 18.
We're ready for 18. Community corrections, $3,400. Amendment requested to maintain budget lines with possible positive balances.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 19, fire, $10,500. Transfer mechanic payroll for overtime and salaries and wages to complete fiscal year 2020. Other salary and wages short due to payout.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 20, fire, $7,403.82. Administrative transfers to finish the year.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 21, E911, $7,350, year-end adjustments for benefits.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 22, highway, $3,200, year-end adjustments for benefits.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 23, finance, various departments, $240,390, year-end adjustments for benefits.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 24, OJI, $59,700, year-end adjustments.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
25, OJI, $7,600, juvenile court services, year-end adjustments.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 26, finance. $1,233,812 budgeted educational principal and interest payments to correct line items, budget debt, issuance charges, and increased trustees commission.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 27, Health Department, STD, $3,700 special purpose year-end adjustments.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 28, General Sessions Division 2, $13,719 year-end adjustments.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Item 29, Solid Waste, $142,350. Set up revenue and cost center for waste tires.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 30, IT, $600 new tires for vehicle.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 31, Juvenile Court Services, $150,980.70 year-end adjustments.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 32, Sheriff's, $27,300, transferring available money to cover overspent accounts.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 33, Sheriff, $7,000, transferring some available money to cover overspent accounts.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 34, Sheriff, $287,400, transferring available money to cover overspent accounts.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
No.
I have one no.
Item 35, Sheriff, $107,200, transferring available money to cover overspent accounts.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Commissioner Stevens.
Mr. Chairman, I've got a couple of questions on this one. Can we pull that up there, please? So I got a question on this one, and then the amendment that's going to come up too. What we've done on other contracted services here, if you look right in the middle there, they're debiting that for $98,800. Okay, can we go to that next? The amendment that's on page. I'm sorry.
Page 46.
Yeah, 46, on page 46. They debited just $98,800 on the one we're voting on. But on this one, they're crediting $33,100. I'm not understanding why y'all are doing that.
It was a matter of looking at all the different divisions we have and trying to come up with available money, especially with other contracted services to fund Dr. Bates' contract and pathways and life check. And I apologize, when I shifted money from the first one, I realized we've done too much. So I apologize if that was an error on my part. We're just trying to get all the funds in line so we can afford to pay everything we need to at the year end.
I just want to make that clear to the commission. You got one debit and one credit on the same account.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Are we on item 36?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Sheriff, $13,700 transferring from available money to cover overspent accounts.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 37, Sheriff, $58,100 transferring available money from gasoline to cover estimated food costs and pathways payments through 6/30/2020.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 38, Sheriff, $17,970.22 general fund, transferring insurance recovery, restitution from inmate, travel refund, juvenile detention, meal payments, court security overtime grant payments, coin bill reimbursement, and SRO ball game overtime reimbursement.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 39, finance, $4,517, let's see, $4,517,120 transferring from local tax to close out fund.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 40, Health Department, immunizations, adult, $1,980 alliance to estimated year-end salary.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Item 41, juvenile court services, $50,000 carpet and paint for juvenile court and general sessions building.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
From fund balance, Sheriff's Department, item 42, $10,759.27, payout for employee resignation. And as I first understood, this was not going to add anything to our, what do you call it? Maintenance of effort. Is that still true?
We have had conflicting opinions on that. So we are told that if it increases the salary positions line, that it does impact.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Commissioner Hale.
Just so everyone's on the same page with that, Karen, would you mind going into that a little bit further?
If the position amounts increases for maintenance of effort, which is in his salary line item, we have been told that increases maintenance of effort for that year. That is why the Budget Committee proposed pulling payouts out separately so they are not commingled in the salaries to impact any department's maintenance of effort.
So in effect, by voting a yes for that, we could be affecting the years to come.
Yes.
So not just $10,700 for this budget year, but for every budget year after that?
Correct.
Correct. Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye. No.
No.
Roll call.
No.
Alexander.
No.
Arnold.
No.
Beckham.
No.
Brantley. Brown Claudel.
No.
Brown Scott.
No.
Bryant.
No.
Bush.
No.
Compton.
No.
Deaton.
No.
Ellison.
Yes.
Gobble.
No.
Hill.
No.
Johnson Arthur.
No.
Johnson Barber.
No.
Martin.
No.
Mercer.
Yes.
Montague.
No.
Pearson.
Yes.
Petty.
Pass.
Spain. Fairman,
No.
Stevenson,
No.
Taylor,
No.
Wall,
No.
Anyone want to change their vote? Nineteen,
oh, I'm sorry, that's no.
19 noes, 3 yeses, 2 pass, 1 absent. Motion failed.
Item 43, county attorney, $15,197.50. This is for additional billable hours for second half fiscal year.
Committee recommendation, no second required. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
We had two to come in after the finance committee met, and so we'll need to suspend the rules to deal with these. And I motion to suspend the rules.
Have a motion by Commissioner Alexander to suspend the rules, second by Commissioner Beckham. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
This is a general fund, Madison County EMA, and is this up there now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. You see this is simply transfers within EMA, and you see the amounts being moved around. So I move that we approve.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Commissioner Petty. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
Then we have one from archives and preservations of records, and you see the shifting funds there. This is simply transferring within the account, so I move that we approve.
Motion second, second by Commissioner Brown. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Item number 24, election of notary public.
So moved.
Commissioner Taylor, have a motion?
Before we move on from 23, I'd like to make a motion. We had transferred, and Karen can speak to the specifics of this, $106,000 from a special fund into school general fund, and we would like to suspend the rules and take that up and move it to educational capital, which we think is going to need more money for the new schools that are coming online. So we think that money would be better used in educational capital.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. Have a second?
Second.
By Commissioner Compton. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. What's the motion?
The motion is to transfer, where would it be coming from now, Karen?
It's $106,400. It's coming from that special revenue that I mentioned to you earlier as far as the 2017 lawsuit for sales tax. Remember, I said you can either move that to general purpose or you can move it to education capital. It just has to be used for education.
We want to move it to educational capital.
It's a formal motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Beckman. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. 24, election of notary publics. Did I have a motion on that? Commissioner Brown?
Yes, that's it.
Have a second, Commissioner Ellison. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Item 25, any and all matters related to or connected with matters set forth in items 1 through 24. I have a request from Harold Carter he's not on the agenda, but I offer to give him 2 minutes, so go right ahead, Mr. Carter.
That's gracious of you, Gary. Thank you very much. I won't take long, but with the NAACP, if you notice, we have had several issues that we've been dealing with for the last several years, in particular now with COVID. I have some notes here, and I'll briefly sum them up. COVID-19, we feel that we have not done enough testing And we need more testing in our jails as well as more in our nursing homes. We know that by opening, we have increased the vulnerability of a lot of citizens in the state of Tennessee is on the list of going up. I appreciate what our local team has done to help with this effort, but I think in terms of our jails, we have people that's locked up. I know we're testing temperature, but there's a lot of asymptomatic inmates. We get calls constantly across the state about inmates that's locked up in our jail and their exposure. The state has offered to test every one of them because they have state prisoners, so they're going to test every one of them, but it has to be done. And I hadn't talked with you, John. I know that they said that you were the one that's given the okay about whether or not they all get tested or not. Is that true?
Well, we actually, that's correct, but we also went down for our medical doctors has a contract, and other people who are in the medical field, and Kim, and all of us have worked pretty hard on this. Kim has her recommendation, which is the same as ours, with Captain Rudder, and so.
As you all know, that in Trousdale counties and others, asymptomatic folks are common. That means you show no symptoms. And I think because of potential liability that we might incur, we might want to give the okay to test. The question is, what do we do with them? We do what is humanely possible, is to make sure that they're out of harm's way to the extent that's possible. But we're very much concerned with that. Law enforcement reform. We have talked with various agencies here, including the Sheriff's Department on occasion. We need to make sure that our officers that want to protect and serve are doing exactly that. Training is important. We appreciate the training effort. But we still have those that are, as we had a few nights ago, that obviously the training did not help. We need to make sure that all of us have body cameras in our law enforcement community. I know the police department has them. And I think we've talked to you about a few years ago about taking those on at the Sheriff's Department. We still encourage that, not only for the safety of those individuals that you come in contact with, but also the officers as well. Local public education, one of our issues is that, in 5 or 6 years, we should be cracking the top 10. There's no excuse not to. If there are barriers, then let's remove them. It's not impossible. We intend to stay in close contact with our education department. The other issue that we're concerned about is access to the ballot box. Most of you know that in the last week or so, we have our lawsuit, along with several others across the state, has given citizens the right to vote by mail. And that's a good thing in this era of COVID-19. However, Tennessee is known as one of the least voter participation states in the nation. We have taken off the road since 2013, 2019, over 15,000 registered voters. That needs to change, and that change comes from our local elected commission that can make the changes for our state. There's no excuse not to, because if you've got 45,000 registered voters in the city, you only get 11,000 out. That's a problem. 19 out of 4,000 in the county. That's a real problem. This is the issue that we're confronting right now as we move from where we are now. And things are changing, as you readily know. To that extent, our Madison County Courthouse has statutes that goes back and reflect the years of slavery. Those issues must be rectified. We're asking for the removal of those artifacts on the campus. We are taxpayers too. 35–40% of this county residents are African American who are descendants of those slaves. We do not need to be reminded of it. I think that this body has an opportunity to work without going through a whole lot of issues, to work to rectify this situation as soon as possible. We'll be willing to meet with the mayor and with whoever else to talk about what's our next step. We want to get this consciously on your mind so you can think about what do it mean to this community as we can see across this nation and indeed across the world. Change is inevitable. It's left up to us whether to be bold enough, courageous enough to remove those symbols from the courthouse lawn, to make sure that all of us who are taxpayers stand for that upkeep that do not need to be visible to this community in that fashion. Put them in a private place, if you will. Mr. Chairman, again, I thank you for your gracious Thank you. Mayor, I hope we'll be talking to you about these items and more along with him. And to all of you, we'll try to keep you updated. I've got all your email addresses, so you'll be hearing some updates from us as time goes along. These issues are important for our community for the future growth. We're losing population, not gaining. And right now, with the rent being so high in a lot of places, that's going to be the next issue that we have to deal with, because utilities now are becoming due. Housing costs are going up. And people are working for a minimum wage for more than one job. And that's nearly 50% of our families in Madison County. I thank you for your time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Carter.
Move adjourned.
Have a motion to adjourn. Have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No.